I'm going to hand over to Mark for Plant of the Year.
So I'm delighted to announce, after a very tough decision between all four, the winner is... Oh yeah, here it is. Parma Candy. Parma have been with us since the very early days, but if you look at that chart, what you see is a continuous, relentless improvement year after year, month after month, quarter after quarter. It's 35%, which is fantastic, but it's not the highest of all of the companies. Some you've already seen have got more productivity gains than this. But one of the unique characteristics, Marty, if I may say, is that, and I think there's a big, in terms of the synchronization of leadership with everybody who works in the organization. I visited with, I guess I visited, I don't know, not as many as Richard and John, but certainly 40 or 50 plants over the past few years. Parma and Marty stand out as an organization where that connection is extremely real. One of the striking things, and I don't know, it's so unusual, there is zero attrition. Can you think about that? There is no revolving door. Nobody leaves Parma Candy. I don't know if you sort of drug them. They don't leave.
Maybe it's the candy.
It's the candy, it's the chocolate. And it's a very competitive market for employees. There's two very, very large corporations down the street. It's a very difficult place for anybody else to hire, but not for Parma Candy. And interestingly, you see some of the lists. I'm not going to talk through them all, but there's been 2 years of deferred. In recent times, the productivity increases have been able to allow Marty to avoid major investments in capital, not to avoid them, but simply because they weren't necessary, because productivity had risen to enable them to be avoided, to win more business through increased capacity. The doubling the output in certain lines in a given day, regularly hitting their records. This is a remarkable achievement. But one of the things that you mentioned, you remember Adi Adler? I mentioned sort of 2 years ago when I first interviewed you as a nominee, and at the time Adi Adler was a supervisor, one of the best supervisors, or key supervisor in the organisation. And having got the iPad, suddenly Marty discovered she was running up and down the line saying, "I can show you what this means and what that means." I think it's a remarkable testament, not only to a zero attrition, zero people leaving, but to player transitions within the organisation. Adi Adler, as I understand it, is now becoming the assistant plant manager. Don't you think that's incredible? Wouldn't you, isn't that what people want from their organisations? When we first met with the team, the busy season is a truly wild ride, because everyone wants chocolate at Christmas, and then they don't want it and Halloween as well, of course. As I understand it, that used to be a pretty tricky moment for everybody in the factory. And of course, it is still wild now, but does it feel more in control? Completely different, a completely different situation. So I'm delighted for you to have received this award. It's well earned, and it's a combination of people and productivity together. And every other leap I'm sure you will take will see this accelerate this productivity. So congratulations.